Welcome to SHL Tonight. Happy New Year. I think this is our first episode
Yep.
back since the new year. We have our regular cast or our new regular cast together. So I am joined by our most recent regular, Ara. Ara, how are you?
Doing all right, Nike. How about you?
Good.
And of course, tonight we are joined by my old events comrade, Kami. Good to have you back, Kami. How are you?
Good. I don't feel that old though, so thank you for that.
Kami,
Oh,
is
you're
this your
welcome.
is this your first SHL Tonight appearance? I think not, but I'm not 100% certain.
I've been on the Day Tonight twice, and this will be my first appearance on the SHL.
Oh, fun. Okay. So you've been beaten up by Toaster and Patrick already?
Mostly Toaster.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, all right. So you know how this goes. We end up off the rails before we know it. And that's
don't
the
worry, we'll be
SHL
on the
Tonight
rails
is
for a little bit.
the SHL Tonight crew is probably even more apt to go off the rails, but we've got rid of our two most interesting characters and most likely to take us someplace off of Route One in Massachusetts. So perhaps tonight we'll have a little bit more fun. uh, I think that we were going to start just kind of like reminiscing on the end of last year. Kami, you were sharing before we were on live just a little bit of your deservo meter that you've used in the past for J playoffs, and um, we've already talked quite a bit about the SHL playoffs and the results and the championship, and have been through awards and all those things. But there were a couple of things that you picked out there that were interesting about the series at the end of last season. So anything that you wanted to call out or maybe talk through there before we move on to off-season draft and getting ready for what are we in 86 now? S86?
Coming in. Yeah, I just want to really talk about the Seattle Edmonton series that went into Game 7, like the shot quality stuff. Basically says that Seattle had a slightly better chance to win, about 60%, so a little better than a coin flip. They did really well against Edmonton, and they deserve huge props against going like that juggernaut of a team. So yeah, Seattle's going to be scary in the season coming up. They're probably one of my favorites, if not the favorite, coming into the season.
I wonder if there is anything to be learned. Like I've spent quite a bit of time this offseason looking at what Manhattan did last season, what Edmonton did last season, trying to figure out, perhaps what Seattle is going to do differently. I wonder if there is anything on their roster that Seattle is going to do differently, or if they're trying to just perhaps run it back again this season. Because I know, like, I just selfishly, right? Like Chicago, I know that we are tweaking some things from last year because despite the fact that the roster was, a top 3 or 4 roster in the league, results weren't exactly what we were looking for. We got swept by Seattle. So, like, we're definitely trying to shake things up a little bit. I wonder if Seattle is feeling the same way, or if they feel like, oh, we caught it last year. We just bad luck break.
I think you might see a mix of changes in tactics and just looking to see if it was that bad break. I mean, speaking from as an Edmonton player, I think the issue with Seattle wasn't so much their roster or their tactics. It's more just the way things rolled out in FHM for them, given how much of a fight they did put up in the games we had against them. But that's just me.
I can tell you kind of what went wrong for Chicago last year during the season. You had one of the worst conversion rates for shot quality twos on your away side. It was abysmal at like 4%. The average is like 6. So running like that, and you have like a huge volume of shot quality twos, like if there's a reason why that's happening to you, that might be a lot of block shots close in or just poor shot selection. But that's what really stands out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be totally candid and like we have spent the entire offseason thinking about shooting accuracy for our forward group, because I think that I felt the same way, Cammy. Like if I look at total production, now we were not an offensive juggernaut in comparison to, Edmonton, Manhattan, even New England to some extent. Like we have not over the last at that level, but like I want more scoring out of our forward group, and so I switched to forward this offseason, to try to get more TPE on our front end, trying to bring some of that up, and so like that's what we're doing, and I think that I saw that Manhattan actually did that last season. So Manhattan actually tuned up a lot more of their both shooting accuracy and whatever the distance category is for
Range.
defenders to try to get more offense there. And obviously they found that in the East and were really successful. So I'm like, okay, what can we do to kind of copy a little bit of that? So I mean, it's nice to hear that the metrics perhaps behind that are supportive of looking into that a little bit more.
I can tell you that Atlanta had one of the best shootings from their defensemen for both home and away games too. Like they were killer from outside. So like what they did then works. Edmonton is the only other one that beats them, and Nashville is up there too. So I'd be curious if we look at like Nashville players, if you would see the same trend of a lot of range.
Well, so that's a nice segue in the conversation, because I did want to talk about Nashville. I think that is probably the one team that I am most excited to see how they improve season over season, because I really think that Ace and Fresh have done a really great job putting together a roster that in the East is like now really gelling. I was just taking a look at the analytics the other day, and I think they're creeping up now into the top like 5 or 6 teams in TPE, and so they'll be given a run to, again, another year older Atlanta team. Obviously, Philly will still be in the mix. New England remains probably the powerhouse with Manhattan there at the top of the East. But like between those 4 teams, I think that it's possible that Nashville supplants, the Forge potentially, and probably another another year older for Atlanta. They have an opportunity to be in that top 3 in the East, which I think is really a really cool story for, an expansion team that's just kind of found their way, traded all their picks for players, and now has a roster that's ready to compete.
I think my only concern with Nashville is their third forward line. It's a little weak right now. It's getting better, but this season might be a little rough for it. So how they protect and how they hide that line will really matter, I think, as we go along. And I think they'll make the playoffs. And when they do, it'll be that game of where's that third line and how can the other team capitalize on where it is.
I think Manhattan was in a bit of a similar spot last year, maybe not to the same degree, but they definitely did some really interesting things with protecting that third line. And obviously they leaned on Cove and Boyka a ton last year, and I wonder if Nashville takes a similar, because like the schedule as it is now with every other day off gives you a lot more runway in terms of fitness and keeping players fresh, so you could play a little bit more heavy on the forwards than we're used to. So I wonder if Nashville maybe takes a similar approach this year.
Yeah, I would think so, honestly. And I would also track with a lot of the regressions that I've been looking at have been like, hey, like we'll just knock down stamina a little bit. Because if you can run like more time and stuff, and you have more time to rest, then your stamina may not be as important like long term through the season as it has been before. So
yeah. For me, and sorry I jumped ahead, was to season preview and what does S86 look like. But for me, that was maybe one of the top stories is I think both Denver is ready to take a step forward. Maybe not 86. I think 87 is probably their coming out party. But they are really, really close. And then Nashville, obviously, I think this season is their coming out party. But I'm curious if you two had any initial thoughts, whether that's on season predictions or teams to look out for, who's going to take a step forward, who's going to take a step back. I'm curious from both your perspectives, perhaps some of those ideas.
Kami, do you want to start us off? Because I've got mine. I'm interested in seeing what yours are.
I'm gonna call literally gonna call Seattle. Love their team. I'm gonna call them winning the league. It's not gonna be out in the head, but they'll win the league is my guess right now. They've been really improving. They're really hitting their stride. And I do like Nashville and Denver. I'm also looking at Cincinnati. I never count 7 out, honestly, from my time in the J. So Cincinnati is always going to be around, but I don't think they're going to have a huge one. But I think Seattle in the West and probably New England in the East are really my bets to win the conferences.
See, my personal bet would be on Seattle either coming in with a close win over Edmonton this year or taking the league next season. I think given how much they've improved over the last season, the likely postmortems they have done since their loss to Edmonton in the third round last playoffs and all of the other work they put in, it would not surprise me if they do not win, then they will at least give Edmonton a run for their money this season, be it in the regular season or in the playoffs. Beyond them, I think New England and Cincinnati are the other ones I'm really watching. I mean, New England did an incredible job last season, and watching Cincinnati really start to shine under 7 is just something that's been phenomenal to watch. And as you said, having seen their work in the J, I really do think they will continue to improve and do well this season. So, beyond that, I'm also keeping my eye on Denver as well. But yeah. And as for folks on the decline, I would probably say Atlanta will continue to feel the effects of their post-peak after the last couple of seasons of dominance, but as will Edmonton, but we'll see what happens, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, maybe the one other team that we haven't talked about that is just kind of slowly climbing and we probably just haven't given enough grace or kudos to is Hamilton. That roster, I think Alex and team have done a really good job of just putting together a team that is slowly, and now you're looking at Chaywan and James is almost at that peak of that, that whole class of players, they're starting to peak now. They're in the East. And I do think truly that the East is wide open. So any of Nashville, Hamilton, New England, Manhattan, any of those teams could make a run this year and win the East straight out, and it wouldn't surprise me. So we haven't mentioned Hamilton, but that's another one for me that they did, not this past season, but the season before, had that upset in the first round of the playoffs, and have started to pull together some of that chemistry and all those other things. So I'm actually interested also to see how they shake out this year, because I think that they're going to be a playoff team to be reckoned with probably over the course of the next 5 seasons.
Oh, I agree with that. Well, I have a dark horse for the West. I think that'd be Minnesota. They've been climbing season over season. They've been really building with Gord there. They seem to have gotten their tactics almost settled now, and they've been really challenging other teams. So I really like them moving up. I don't know if they're going to really surprise, but would a 4th position in the conference surprise me? No. I think they could definitely pull off a 3rd or a 4th in the West with some good luck, a little bit of good luck.
The West is so much harder, right? Because it's just
no,
you're gonna get beat up by Seattle, Edmonton, and Chicago most of the season, and so even if you have the best year, one of those 3 is likely to be right.
But could they finish 4th? Yes, for sure. And I'm always hopeful for the underdog. I would root for the underdog 10 out of 10 times. And lot of their overtime wins go their way and stuff, and they get a puck bounce here and there, and FHM favors them. I can see them finishing in third. It's unlikely, but I can see them finishing in third.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you look at some of the, just the general TPE analytics in that they're what, fifth or sixth in the West? Seattle, Edmonton, Chicago, New Orleans, Denver, then Minnesota. But I actually like, Kami, to your point, I think I probably could see them very easily finishing fourth, to your point. And then New Orleans will find a way in the playoffs to be a scary out for anybody. And, Denver and New Orleans will probably play each other again in the first round and beat up on each other. Whoever comes out of that too. Like, it's always the so yeah, I mean,
if you're New Orleans, do you make a move for a goalie? Like, they don't have a great goalie tandem in that, so
I think Seattle is in the same position too, right? I'm not sure if Seattle could afford a goaltender, but I think that Seattle is like one of the worst goaltender tandems in the league
right now.
Yes, worst, I think. 24th. So, or no, that's right. 18th in the league. I was looking at SFP.
Yeah, SFP, LAP, Winnipeg, and then Seattle. So
yeah. So like, if Seattle and Minnesota and New Orleans go, then we can truly say finally that goalie TPE doesn't matter.
See, I think this offseason was actually interesting because last offseason there were a number of starting quality goaltenders available for cheap. I don't think this offseason there were any. Now, interestingly enough, this upcoming draft class is littered with goaltenders. The 87 draft class, I think, has too many, and that's probably because there was a shortage of goaltenders in the J. Whether or not all of those folks keep with goalie or not but that's like there's an interesting trend there that, like, I think we had the bloat of goalies up through last season. We seem to have right-sized a bit since expansion. I don't know that there are a ton of teams with two max earning goaltenders at the minute, but I'm probably missing a few. But I think that we are probably like getting ready to have that flat line for the next 3 or 4 seasons. Then it will likely pick back up, I think, because of this existing draft class. No numbers to back that up other than like gut check.
I think there was 12 to 14 goalies in the J drafts, and I do recognize like a ton of like long-time power users starting as goalies, so really good picks. It's like next draft getting like seeing a goalie in the first round wouldn't be surprising to me at all, or multiple. So
I think speaking,
but we're like way off topic and way ahead.
No, it's all good, Tommy. We always go off topic to some degree here.
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking about the league at this point, which is impressive for 20 minutes in. So
yes.
All right, so we talked about teams to watch. How about maybe players to watch and folks that are coming into that like core of their career? Are there any folks this year that you guys were maybe excited to pick for fantasy, or folks that are like just hitting that top of their career that you're maybe interested in seeing how the season shakes out for?
I'm excited for James and Kim Chae-Won over in Hamilton, as you said earlier, coming in, and the team's really getting together. Like, you can have a bonkers player on a team that's just not set up for your window, and just it's hard to get you to get the points, get the stats, and get the results that you like your player can do. But like with Hamilton coming up, I think that's going to be a player to look out for. I think it's Shiny Princess or Shiny Rainbow. I think he got picked up a couple times in fantasy, and I was surprised because I'm like, that's another season 80, and I'm like, he got picked and I didn't. Oh my god! So I think that's another player that people are very excited about, and they're gonna do very well this season coming up.
Yeah, because it's the 79 and 80 class, right, that are right on the cusp now of really getting those first line minutes. And
As on my end, I would say definitely Abby Reitbach, just to see how well they continue to do on the goaltending side of things, especially after their win with the John McBride Award. Rookie wise, definitely keeping my eyes on Anytime, given how well they did in the playoffs this season, or sorry, how well they did in the J playoff.
You okay?
Sorry. Where was I going with this? How well they did in the Jays in their final season with all the awards they won. I think that, and given what we saw from Just in Time, Romans or Evox, fucking hell. Sorry. Shit. Yeah, basically, just given how well Ramen tends to build their players, I think they will definitely be one to watch. Beyond that, I am just mostly keeping an eye on Sunday S79 and S80 class, given that, as y'all said, they are really starting to hit their stride and should be getting those first line minutes now.
Yeah, I was just having a quick peek at like overall TP and players at like Jet Labyrinth on Nashville is one to watch out for, right? Like Jet just won an award, was a mainstay in that defensive core, is now in the top 5 in league PPE, so like apt to be a top player. Oh goodness, where's mom?
Yeah. Always where's mom? Oh, it's downstairs. Want me to take her down? Okay, I'll take you down. Fine.
Kami will be right back.
And then, on top of that, I would also say Lid Cove as well.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if they can end up repeating their feat from last season and leading the league in goals. But that, sorry.
No, I did like Cove and Boyka, right, are both again in the top 10 of TPE. They'll be presumably on the same line again in Manhattan, getting huge minutes. So like I think that they're both here to stay in terms of top 10 scoring and in the conversation for awards and all those other things. So
disregard what I said about Annie. I have been looking at my other notes. Sorry.
No, all good. I mean, I think that's a good comment for Jay tonight.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think, you look at that 79 class. Let's see. Let's just have a quick peek at those folks. You've got Linthome, who is also in Nashville. Nashville is just scary. They've got Linthome, Bourne, Hip Hurts. Edmonton obviously probably takes, I think, has been probably overshadowed by a large roster of just like really talented folks.
So
Jacob Marsh could have a big step forward. That 79 class is awesome.
On top of that, allow me to restate what I meant to say when I was going through my notes. I had meant to say Thomas Hudson. Given we saw such massive improvement from them, especially with those 114 points scored this past season, and him leading Texas with goals, he is definitely on my to-watch list. So, if he can end up repeating his feat from last season, he may end up being a fixture, not just in Texas, but at the top of the leaderboards for the league. But we'll see what happens there.
The interesting thing, if we talk about Texas just for a minute, like the most compelling story in Texas is actually how that Patrick Rail, Thurston Bull, there's one more there on that. Jokinen, how that line gels together over the course of the next 4 seasons. I think that is going to be a league dominating line in my opinion.
They are going to be.
Oh yeah.
Joker just
Thurston Bull.
the gesture nod. Go ahead, Kami. Sorry.
Yeah, Thurston Bull 96 points, Patrick Rail, 94. Yeah, they're coming right into their own. And with all the chemistry they built up, like they're just going to absolutely wreck. They're probably a decent pick for fantasy, honestly. Not all the fantasy picks were done long ago, except for mine.
Yeah. I think that they will probably be Texas's second line this season after being the third line last year. But like, they're all 1,200 to 1,400 TPs. I think they're all 82 and 83s.
Yeah.
They're all class of 82, 1,200 TPE. So like, the fact they almost all had 100-point seasons last season, they could only get better. And 2 seasons from now, we'll be like, holy smokes, that's the best line in the league.
Yeah.
So
I think they both benefited a lot. I think they got yeah. They only got second, I was gonna say they got second, like first unit power play time, but they didn't. They got second unit power play time. So it's not even like they were like gassed up on the power play. This is all in strength.
Yeah. So that's a fun line to watch.
Oh God, yes.
I haven't even started thinking about the 82 class, mostly because I haven't drafted in 5 seasons or whatever it is.
Stop trading your picks away, and you got something to say.
That's your cue to get back into drafting, Nike.
Well, that would require me to like be done with competing, and I don't want to do that yet because I haven't won anything yet.
I'm just looking through the list of players, those city players I was drafted with. Rocky, this last one in New Orleans. 90-point season there, season 80, been coming up. So another person that's going to be, taking advantage of earning TPE instead of being sad over regression.
I wonder. There's probably somebody.
So many good of them.
There's probably somebody smarter than me, but this was a relatively large offseason for retirement in terms of like number of users that have retired and are coming back, right?
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
They actually even saw a few award winners retire, if memory serves. One that sticks out in my mind is Wolfgang Puck. Just felt so weird seeing them retire after clinching. Oh, God, which one was it? Sorry. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, we've got 120 creates for class of 87. Like, holy smokes. Yeah, there's a lot of recognizable names here too. So,
well, I know, like off the top of my head, I know like Rich Zerd, oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah, Rich, Frenchie.
Frenchie, yes. I just count him because he's a JGM, so I can't draft him.
Yes.
Slicer, Toast, Carlinsons.
Oh, it's really going to be quite the stacked draft class with all the with all the grade A users we've got coming back.
Yeah, Chevy, freaking Figgy.
Agent Smith is back.
Wow.
Crazy Tomato the third. I mean,
Mike Mart, who went first overall. I know they're new, but like big sim guy coming in. Yeah, Toast. Any Animatic. Defensia, like Operation Ivy. Like I just go like, oh, of course, yeah. I had great conversations with all of them. They're great people, and I'm like, I forgot all year. I'm so sorry, guys.
You're all good.
You're like 60 players in as you flip through, and you're like, holy smokes, that's a great class. So I wonder, I wonder if are we starting to see a bit of that turnover? And I'm just like, you think about the last 10 seasons or so in the SHL, and from the Pride to Atlanta to Edmonton, and so like a lot of those teams have aged out. So
slight correction, I was mistaken. Wolfgang Puck had not retired. I was thinking of Puck Norris. Sorry.
Puck Norris. Okay.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, Jigglypuff, Ziegel too.
Yep. Yeah.
Long time. I keep looking at the list. I'm like, there's another day that jumps out, another day that jumps out, and I'm sorry if I missed anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we could go through the whole list and we would still miss people. So, I mean, it's
having Loki Wild coming back. Sorry.
So, anyways, I think that 87 class is going to be interesting. I'm also intrigued by like the next couple of seasons because we just saw Harrington retired. We probably, again, shout out Harrington. That's like the third time I've done this on this podcast, but like all times point leader, all times game played leader, all times goals leader. RIP to the Stranger Things series. So Harrington now rests. What are we knocking over, Kami?
Ran my knee to the table and everything fell.
Yeah, all-time hair leader. True, very true. All right. Well, we've covered everything I wanted to cover. So, what else you guys want to cover?
Whatever y'all want.
I want to write down some predictions so people can get mad at us later. We'll pull up notepads for everybody.
Well, so what we did last season is I did my predictions for the year live, and I can tell you that it didn't work out great because I picked Chicago to win everything. So, have either of you done your predictions already, or you want to do them live?
We can do them live. You can get raked across the coals for it. Makes it more fun.
I'm the worst. I wait till all the responses are out, copy the Google Sheet over, and then they have a formula that tells me the top answers, and then I just the day before.
Also, shout out to Rich. Hello to you.
Oh, Rich is here. What's up, Rich? All right. So, have you already submitted your predictions?
Not yet, but
all right. It sounds like you're doing it now, then. Kami's counting on everybody else's results, and I'm not doing it again because it didn't.
Come on!
It didn't work in my favor.
I'm the only one to do it live.
All right. SHL.
Come on, Kami.
I'll pull it up.
Well, maybe the fun thing to do actually would be right now to take a quick peek at the most selected.
Sure. But I will give my top three. We'll say
top
Edmonton
three.
as number one. Yes.
Oh, boo. That's so safe.
Then I would say I'll do an old classic. Atlanta or New England, and probably third regular season would end up being Seattle.
All right, let's see. I'm just taking a quick average of all the responses currently.
It looks like Edmonton first in the West, Seattle second, Chicago third, and fourth is a little closer. I think it's going to be New Orleans, though. I'm looking at the numbers. And fifth is probably going to be Denver. I think Madison has the widest spread of where people are going to think they're going to end up, which is interesting. So they could be a surprise if some people know something that we don't know. But, yeah.
Oh, why did I copied that? We should have done this before.
Yeah, right.
This is not entertainment built on prior preparation.
No,
but it's free entertainment. Free.
Yeah.
Nobody has to pay for it, so we're all good.
Okay, I figured out my table. All right, so
go ahead. The floor's yours.
Now I need my headers, though I can't see anything.
Oh no. Lock the first row.
There we go. Got it. Okay. So top three in the West. Edmonton number one. Cami, like you were saying. Seattle 2. Chicago 3. But let's see. And then I think then we're pretty close between Denver and New Orleans. So I've got New Orleans by a couple of percentage points over Denver.
See, I ended up going Denver with number 4, ended up doing New Orleans 5. That's just me.
And then we've got folks are also split between Texas and Minnesota. in that 5-6 spot. 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. And then you've got Calgary, Madison, before Winnipeg and SFP, kind of SFP, LAP rounded out. So yeah, I mean, I think realistically, right, your interesting choices in the West are between Denver and NOLA, and then Minnesota, Texas.
Yeah. What season did we switch to FHM 10 again? 82? Or 83?
To 10, it would have been 80. That was 3 seasons ago now. So 83. Yeah, 82, 83 off season.
83. Okay. Yeah. It's so funny because I'm just looking through the points leaders just to see, because I saw stuff in the JDAV and it looks like it's probably here in SHL. People have really figured it out. Or are continuing to figure it out. Because you look at the first season, like the top points getter was Roya with 130 and 83, and then you go to like next season, Roya was again, but it was 144, and then there's a lot of people behind. Like before, Roya was like 20 points ahead, and then you go to last season, 137, and again, like way more players higher up. So what have you, because I know you guys are both involved, what have you seen or what have you changed compared to FHM 8 to now, like learning FHM 10? And what is that leading you to believe? And what's kind of the idea where you want to try something for the new season here coming up? I guess is my question.
I don't want to give everything away.
But no, not everything. But like obviously, so then let's not talk about like what you're going to do this season, obviously. But what have you seen as trends over the last 3 seasons, being a GM and being involved with like learning all of this? What's more important now than what was, and why the big explosion? If you got an answer to that.
I think surprisingly to no one, offense is more important for whatever reason. I was looking today at just like historical records in FHM, and it is crazy what the last couple of seasons have looked like. I was not surprised to find that physicals continue to be and are even more important in FHM 10. But I will also say that like I was half checked in terms of FHM when FHM 8 was out, because I had just come back to being a GM and Chicago sucked through that whole period. So FHM 10 has really been the time to like dial it in and try, spend a lot of time in there. So
Gotcha.
I don't have a ton of perspective on what's different, but I don't know, Ara, if you have a similar point of view, or Kami, if like in your J experience, if there were things that you've picked out. But like I'm having a lot of fun with 10 personally, just like playing around. I think the player fits on tactics is a fun new introduction. Whether they mean a lot, I don't necessarily believe, but like there's some quality of life things in there, and there's some things that I have started to hone in on in FHM 10 that didn't exist in 8. So that was a non-answer, but
I wasn't expecting. I was trying to get a real answer, and I knew you would. Like, you're not going to give everything away. I think it's interesting because I'm seeing more players with screening overall. I don't know if that's actually contributing, but I am seeing player builds that don't have 5 screening, for example. People are investing some points into it. Like if it's a throwaway stat, then it's a 5. If it's like fighting, but it's not, maybe it feels a little stronger than it should have been. I'll say this in the J: speed. Speed is big. So physicals again, really, really big. 19s on physicals is huge. Get through as fast as you can. I'm kind of curious if a player went like full physicals and like 10 everywhere else, basically, how that player would do. Like, would that player succeed and do pretty well, or would that be an issue? But like, I'm a tester. I'm a person that wants to tweak and do it. I don't want to actually like sim over and over again because that sounds awful, but I want to like create like really dumb characters and really dumb players and then send them out into the wild.
Yeah. We did, this is like 2 seasons ago. And I will give all the credit to Juke and Fresh and those guys that they did like a bunch of correlation on player builds for teams that were most successful. And I think, the interesting thing that we found then that is not held true, I think, is stamina. We talked about that already, but like stamina had one of the highest correlations to successful teams overall, and player success, but it has not turned out to be, in my experience, that impactful. So like the 17th or 18th point into stamina is not as important as like getting to 15 or 16 so that you're a meaningful player. But then like similarly, I mean, you just talked about speed. Balance was the other one. Like balance, speed, and acceleration were all, basically like an 8.85 correlation to player and team success. And so highly correlated, but I have found that strength and balance are not as impactful perhaps as speed and acceleration are. And so that's a very interesting, like we've learned something since, but I think that the core of that is physicals are still the most important stat group, which is, I think, an unfortunate reality of the current sim engine.
I wish the sim engine was a little different. I wish there was a little bit more variability, but yeah, like right now, if you were to, like, you're watching now, you're new to the SHL or whatever, you just dump points in physicals, you're gonna look great.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Like we're talking like speed and acceleration matter more, but like physical in general are so good. Yeah, like I think speed is so important in acceleration because if you can't get somewhere fast enough, you can't do anything about it. You're hitting, you're checking, you're anything. It doesn't matter. Because you can't get there. And I think the engine is better at displaying that reality, but I think it also suffers that the tactics inside the game and how the group plays at one isn't enough to compensate. Like there's slow teams in the NHL that can compensate with their tactics.
Right.
There's not really that in FHM. There's a few really good ones. There's some awful ones. Don't ever play dump in. If you're a GM and you play dump in, I'm going to be mad at you. Don't give away possession.
I think the 1-3-1 Boucher is also the same thing. Like just don't bother. It's you're gonna break something.
Yeah.
And I do think it's also interesting. Like when you look at sliders, right? Like there is no room. If you just flip through every team in the SHL's sliders, there is no room for a mid-tempo team in the current meta. It just doesn't exist. And so like that is the same in the J.
Yeah, everybody runs 100% like tempo 100% of the time.
Yeah,
you can't do it. Because if you run it's just the team tactics and the stuff don't correlate well to slower play. Like tempo just means your players stay faster, which is the speed thing, which is already what we thought was important.
Yeah, it's sort of the self-fulfilling prophecy. So, anyways, yeah, I mean, I don't think FHM 10 is going anywhere anytime soon, just based on the fact that we just spent all the time but it would be interesting to use another platform rather than the 2 major leagues to toy with ideas of more limitations to builds, which is, I know that like that is the least exciting conversation for anybody to have. Is like, oh, I have to, like, I'm restricted to these number of stats and these, all those things, but also like just team construction and what roles we can use for folks. Because the current limitation of like you can only have 3 of one role, but then there's also that small handful. Right. Yeah. 2 on the same line.
Of single roles.
Yeah, and then you also have like you can have 1 crease clearing, you can have 1 shadow, but again, like those are generally used. I personally find that they're used more frequently in the playoffs than they are during the regular season because a lot of folks like to just kind of set it and forget it during the regular season.
No. So I'm going to say no to that. Live sims are different than quick sims, 100% of the time.
Oh yes.
They don't sim the same. So by having a shadow or by having these different roles is wildly better in a live sim. Where you're simming like multiple games, you just want consistency so that you can figure out your sliders and figure out a tactic change really quickly. So you just go with like generically good. But in the playoffs, yeah, no, that's not killer. I will say this: I think any role that requires speed is really good. So like I'm really liking rushing defenseman and mobile defenseman a lot more right now than I was in FHM 8. Like
mobile defenseman is mobile defenseman also speed? I think it was puck handling and
it has speed in it. I think I have to check my freaking sheet, my chart, but rushing defenseman for sure. Quarterback has it too, so which is nice. But the same thing for forwards. Like you look like all the really popular forward roles. I've seen a lot more speedy forwards coming out.
Yep.
Than before, and that's like stamina or speed is now their like super key stat instead of just a regular like, hey, this is really good for you stat. So
yeah, counterattacking, speedy forward
has it
coming back, or I should say coming out. Less dangler, obviously. I'm seeing a lot less dangler, which I don't think is going to go away. Gretzky's office has kind of been in flux a little bit. I think it's still popular. I think folks still like that behind the net, but
I'll say this too. I think a big change about FHM 8 to FHM 10 is like behind the net isn't as strong. It feels like. Yeah. I don't know if you like you don't know like you obviously haven't played a lot of HM 8, but it feels like behind the net isn't as powerful. It's still good, and you can still run it, but it's like, hey, like you have other offensive options now. So.
Yeah, I think in 8, from the folks that I have talked to, the two things that are starkly different to me is lack of power forwards. I thought that there were a lot of folks that leaned on the power forward on the wing in 8. That was like one of the first things was like, I want a power forward on every line if I can get it, right? If I can get somebody that's willing to build to that. In 8, folks are like, that I want that role on a line. That has kind of drifted away. And I also think that like behind the net wingers down low meta has changed completely in 10. I'm seeing a lot more variation in the offensive zone and power play setups across the league.
And with success, that's another thing. Like we're talking about, like just very like there's always been like variation. People always tried stuff. Like it's not like we went to the FF10. Everybody's like, you have to play this.
Yeah.
But you play something else, and you just like lose like 8 games in a row because you did 2 sims like this, and you're like, well, don't do that again. But now we're seeing a lot more like forgiveness, I think, in the engine of being like, yeah, you can run this and that. I will say this for like if for people who don't know, if you reset up tactics, there's like, hey, the drop down slider, and it tells us who's good and who's bad and who's awful and who's great at a tactic, and it's league relative. So you also have to keep that in mind, so that if you're a bad team, you're gonna have more players in a bad role. But if they're not a terrible fit, it's still okay, probably, if it's a good tactic and it fits with your players' builds.
Yeah, and the other thing to look at, right? Like I do this a lot is I set up my power play tactics and it says players that aren't on my power play are bad or horrible match. I'm like, I don't care because that person is not going to be on the ice, right? Like you have to be able to like work with the nuance of like, okay, first of all, yes, relative to the whole league, like I almost never see great fit, right? Like almost never. There's plenty of folks that fit into that good fit, bad fit, and then like the terrible and the great. It's your average like distribution, right? In that there's so many folks out on the periphery that you don't often see them. But that like being a good tactician, you have to be able to work through the nuance of things like that. And this person is not on my power play, so it doesn't matter that my power play setup is a bad fit for that person.
I thought FHM was better about that 10. I thought because like coming into the new season, we didn't have anybody on our power play or penalty kill. And like we set up things, we're like, hey, this should work. And we're like, hey, we have no good fits or bad fits. Great.
Oh, it was just blank.
Look, oh yeah, we don't have there's nothing there. We're like, oh great. Yeah, so it only shows the players that are actually participating, which is nice.
I wonder I wonder if there's anything on like the 3v3. I actually don't know. I'd have to test that to figure out like if I drop somebody from a 3v3, 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, if that counts in the special teams. Because I do like I have certainly seen players that are not. Yeah, I have no idea. Or maybe I'm
That
also
sounds like something
just
in
like
this code.
specifically looking at top, my top unit, right? Like who's going to be on the ice 60-70% of the time. Like, oh, I don't care as much if the second unit is, like self-selective.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see because I know we talk about like Hoops player, Thurston Bull, and how that line's been doing really well. If I remember right, he was building a shadow. He was with us in Detroit, and he was building a shadow. He ended up playing power forward for us because it was FHM 8, and he only got a season with FHM 10 with him. So I'm curious what he's building now, because like with the success that line is, after we're done here, like I'm going to look. I'm going to look
I'm
to
looking
see
right now.
So patient. But like figure out like, hey, what are they doing? What's different? And then can we replicate it? All what this league is about is kind of that type of stuff. Hey, they're doing great. Why are they doing great? Can I understand why they're doing great? And then can I do it? Or can we do it better than them? Or can we do something different that's better?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. That's why I really enjoy the league. Like actual, like, I guess, physical part of the league. If that makes sense. Not the banter, not the community, not anything else, but the actual physical game part of the league. That's the fun part there.
There is a joy and an excitement to doing that, but also like the middle-aged man in me is tired.
You're not that old, Nike. How old am I? What year is it? Oh, 36. Okay, I had to look at the year.
But
come on, Nike, you're still young.
But like there's only so many hours of hobby time that you can allocate, and so it's like, I love Patrick, but do I really want to spend a ton of time looking at Patrick's build and what is Patrick doing, or do I just want to build my own thing and be like, yeah, this is fun? And all of that is like
Nike's building a goon next player. He's building a goon. Everybody be ready so he doesn't think about it.
Well, so
what are you fighting?
it's a very interesting GM conversation, because I have seen, and I think Hiff turned me on to this, was basically like, there is two thoughts in the SHL GM sphere of like, build a goalie and just like don't worry about it and be a GM, and then the TPE doesn't matter, you can just do the thing that keeps the team running. And then there's the alternative, which if you look at like Ass in Philly, is like, I'm going to build a number one center so that I always have a number one center, because as a GM I can count on the fact that I am always going to be a number one center. Like there's the like two juxtapositions, and so like I am interested in that too,
Yeah, like you know what? It's I don't like to say but fault from anybody. When they like leave the league, like if you lose interest, if something else happens that's more important, yeah, go do other fun things and do that. But there's such a security feeling being like, no, I'm here and I got this and I don't have to worry about it. I can definitely understand like building that number one center and basically being like,
yeah,
I don't have to worry.
Yeah, a free number one center every 10 seasons is like a pretty good gig.
Yeah, a little bit.
And especially like if you start to think about value wise, right? Like a GM building a goalie versus a GM building the number one center is a huge value differential in terms of draft capital, like just at draft capital.
Yeah, that's where I lean, because I'm like, that's such a powerful thing for teams, and you can see it all the time when like teams load up and then like they hit. You got to hit. But when you hit, oh my God, it looks great, it feels great, and it's a lot of fun being in those locker rooms with that same group of people.
Yeah.
And building up to something. So, yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the hour mark. We talked about a bunch of extra stuff, which is good. Anything that we didn't cover that
at least it was league related this time.
yeah.
I think we hit most of the bases this time.
Did we have a show after the draft or no?
This is our first show after the draft because we went draft, awards, and R and I were both like, okay, enough.
Yeah, well, and freaking Christmas. Like everybody deserves some time off here.
Yeah, we'll take a quick peek at the draft. I could pull it up.
Yeah, I was just going to say we could do a 5-minute thing at the draft. Like, obviously, it was just like Madison drafting everybody, but like,
yeah,
Hiff's draft madness strikes again.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he did a great job. He picked a lot of people that I like seeing around, a lot of people I like interacting with, and
so. This time, now that I've actually got my head straight, I think what I was trying to say was I was looking at the draft board while getting that mixed up with my notes earlier. So yeah, that bit about anytime was supposed to be, yeah, I think once she actually makes it in, or once she actually transitions over to the league proper, yeah, she will definitely be one to watch, as will the rest of the top picks on the future Madison squad. Especially given what we saw from Arthas Emre, Jude Greer, etc., and again, Anytime with how well they did in the J this past season. So, definitely ones to keep your eye on. What about y'all? Anybody stand out to y'all?
Honestly, it's just like it's such a like it starts with a list early up, like Ramen, like because I know like players will do as well or as poorly as they do, and like that's just how FHM goes. I always just kind of always look for like, do I like is this user going to be fun to have in the locker?
Yeah.
Is the person going to contribute and have a good time? And like Ramen, Verdant, Metafiction, Muted, Crazy Mojito. Like going through the top 15 picks in my head here: Derizer, Pandora, Anders, Daleks, Mflex, Doric, Weaves. Like Weaves was 13. Like talk about like really strong. McPumpkin and Apollo S just around at the 15. Hex was freaking 16. I've absolutely adored him and his Dwarf Fortress stuff in Montreal. So like it's just that type of stuff and those people that you really want to bring in. And I don't think a team missed. And yeah, like Madison obviously loaded up. They're gonna, like, I think they're in a great spot to keep this core, like this new core around. They pick some great people, and it's gonna be scary. My one wish, and it's a dumb wish because I love dumb stuff because it's funny, is Anytime to go to goalie. follow.
The first overall card that switches. It's like it's like one of those holographic cards.
I could write 2,000 words in a media piece if Robin was to do it, and I'd have a great time doing it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great draft. I think there's a ton of fun people here. There's a ton of play. Like, I'm with you, Kami. The really hard thing is to predict whether the sim likes. I have this like interesting theory that there is the certain player numbers get like a percentage point extra or a percentage point less in terms of like just sim performance. There's like a supercharge, but as you look at this list, you get into the 30s and there's still people that I would gladly have join my team.
I'm out of Baltimore now, but I'm still like hanging out in the general servers. And Lord Humongous Homer Creates, it's crazy. He just posts memes. He just talks in this meme format. And I don't know how fast he can do it. He does it freaking fast. I'm like, how do you do this? Where is this like generator? And, like, it's a lot of fun. And like that was 26. And I don't have a ton of experience with everybody else, but if that's the quality at 26, I know that there's teams below that got their guy. People that are excited to have here we go. Antique 35 to Texas.
Yeah, that's a co-GM pick, but I get you.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Oh, he's gonna roast me in freaking Detroit now. God.
But yeah, like Larry had a almost 2K player and was with one, I think, was
46.
with one. So I mean, you're starting to there. I mean, obviously you get into the 40s and 50s, but like just a really good class. And I think we were just talking about this upcoming class is almost twice as large right now, whether all those folks stick around or not. But like we're talking certainly, I think at this time, 3rd round picks in this next draft class are probably gonna have some value.
Yeah. I think a lot of them, like, I think this is, if you, like, YouTube ads are huge. And I know that the recruitment team ran one this time around, and it hit hard on people that really enjoy FHM. It was like the start of a playthrough and stuff. But I'm looking at the, like, already people that are training inactive, or people that didn't put Discord IDs in, or didn't join the SHL Discord. And it's quite high, unfortunately, like out of the new creates that came in. And it's hard sometimes because it's just like, yeah, there's going to be like 20 people that are almost dead on arrival, right? And it's not, I don't know how to keep them. I don't know how to change that. It's just kind of a fact of the league. And even without the YouTube ads, it happens. But the draft is deep. It's not maybe 120 deep, but maybe it's like 80 now. And it'll be up to their J teams and the people in those locker rooms to keep them around and help them out. And hopefully we can see 80 come up. But life is life.
Yeah, no. If we could, no more expansion for right now. Like if we could take a couple more seasons off, so like just the slow trickle would be great.
But you don't want to see 120 draftees every season, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna lose more players to an expansion coming up.
Well, yeah, I think that. Well, if we want to expand in like 2 or 3 seasons, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably run out of runway between now and then. So. All right, last chance. Parting thoughts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys one last question. Is there a player on your guys' teams that you're excited to see perform this season?
All right, I'll let you go first.
I had already said mine. Abby Reitbach or Gwendolyn Tillin. I'm hoping Gwen repeats her success this past season, and obviously, on a more selfish note, I'm hoping that my player can actually do well. But yeah, I'd say either Gwendolyn or Abby are mine. What about y'all?
For me, it's McLovin. I love Soviet's X-Bot. Is like one of my favorite folks in the Chicago locker rooms, hitting his peak, like finally getting first D pairing minutes. I'm just excited. Like has built an awesome offensive defender. I think is going to have an opportunity to like be in the conversation for, best offensive defender this year if we can play our cards right. So I'm just excited for him. Like we had Zoot last year was the #1 TP defenseman on our roster. This year will probably be McLovin. So, and I just also think that like I love the player name. It's a ton of fun. So I'm hoping it'll be successful this year. But yeah, that's my like one pick. I hope that we end up with McLovin in the top 10 in defenseman scoring.
Yeah, you can do it. I believe that you can do it. I'll say number 6. It's number 6. Let's go. I'm going to be excited for Pasta, my new defensive partner. I got traded to Montreal just before the draft. So they're my new partner and season 82. And they're starting to hit like the point where your TPE is good enough to compete. So I'm excited for them. They're going to do really well. And I'm ready to be worked like a horse again. My player last season played almost 25 minutes. I was 3 or 4 seconds shy of 25 minutes a game last season. So it's going to be another one of those.
So, Kami, is this your first time being in a locker room with Pasta?
Yeah.
Okay, because Visceral is, we still have emojis in Chicago from Pasta being on the team with like we've got turtles with knives. I mean, it's just like incredible. Like it's such
terrifying.
Like one of the best users, hands down. Just like so fun to be around, brings all the energy. I was like super disappointed as his activity kind of like started to taper off with his last player, but so excited to see him like reinvigorated back in the league because he's just so much fun to be around. So glad you guys are gonna get the chance to play together this season. That's fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. Well, we are way over. We can't get paid for anything past an hour, so thanks for sticking around for an extra 10 minutes or
Y'all are
so.
welcome.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Thank you.
See you around.